you go through all the things where you are caring too much about everything and being the PTA mom and baking the zucchini muffins, that wonton soup that you made, and you were like, yeah, I like mixed the dough and I was just like, girl, nobody's got time for that. And you're like, oh, I was a stay-at-home mom. I'm like, I don't care. That's bananas. Okay, this is something I don't want to care about, or I'm putting the boundary up. And then you get the reaction, and it's almost like this whole thing starts all over again.
Did I ever tell you I went on strike after that wonton soup meal?
Nice. Tell me.
I made homemade wonton soup. I had one tell me, my daughter said, it looks like brains. Then my son was like, it tastes like laundry detergent. And this was the straw that broke the camel's back. I literally went on strike. And I said, I'm sorry to my ex-husband. I said, but I am not cooking. I think it was like 3 weeks. And I didn't. And so, but then, you're like, okay, my kids need to eat some real food now. Welcome to Drinks with the Girls. Conversations for women over 40 around connection, change, and the power of female friendship. Living well with stories to tell. I'm Karen, and this is Lisa.
We are moms and solopreneurs stepping into our own, diving into real conversations about things that matter to women in midlife.
We're here to spill the tea on everything that affects women in their 40s and beyond. Topics like loss and grief, changing relationships, launching kids, menopause, and reinventing ourselves in midlife. We are here to tackle it all.
Connect with us through a blend of our lived experiences, our friendship, the memory of our moms, plus a collection of real stories, honest conversations, and engaging interviews that will make women over 40 feel seen and remind them that they're not alone on this journey called life. Let's go.
Welcome back to another episode of Drinks with the Girls. We are so glad that you are joining us for this episode because we are going to be talking about something fun, but also serious, but mostly fun. But before we get into it, right. And I'm a little excited about this drink I have tonight. And because, well, I'm just going to give you a little spoiler alert. We are talking today about the We Do Not Care Club. And if you don't know what that is, stick around.
Buckle up.
But because we are talking about the We Do Not Care Club, I am drinking for the first time ever.
Oh my.
A Plift.
Huh. Do tell.
It is a THC infused beverage.
Girl, tell me. Tell me more.
This is, and it's called Plift because they took the U off of uplift. And, they do their cute little thing about, well, you are the only thing missing. And I mean, I don't know. We'll see. This is tart lime and it's supposed to taste like a margarita. So we'll see.
Does it? Or have you cracked it open yet?
I've cracked it open. And look, I even, for the aesthetic,
glass.
This is actually a wine glass, but I throw some limes in there. It's over ice. And let's see. I just hope it doesn't taste like weed. Let's.
Because who wants to drink that?
Oh. Delicious. Delicious. Cheers,
it's a win.
Plift.
All right,
good
Plift.
job.
Hit us up.
Let's just see how I feel at the end, though.
Okay.
What are you drinking tonight, darling?
So I'm feeling a little insecure now. So it's been a couple of weeks at work, as Karen knows. And so I was literally like, yesterday I was like at a store and I was like, I got to get a couple cool things that I can drink for the podcast and da-da-da. And like my day's going and I'm doing my thing. And I looked over and I realized what time it was. And I was like, I just don't have the energy to walk to my kitchen from my office and prep something fancy. I can't do it. I'm just going to drink what I need to. And then so like from bougie to this is the glass I'm drinking it in. It's like a glass from the Strip in Vegas.
From Vegas?
Isn't even a glass. It's like plastic. So, needs must. So I am drinking a little concoction of Arbonne Tart Cherry Fizz. I've got some skin elixir in there for the collagen. It's got some hyaluronic acid in there and some prebiotics, probiotics. So I kind of like made my own like prebiotic drink that I'm kind of sipping on. So definitely not as fancy, but I got to try the Plift thing. So where'd you get it? They probably don't sell it at a grocery store, right?
Okay, and well, I think you can get it online, but I honestly haven't really checked. That this is something else I want to share with you. I ordered those boxes you get in the mail. They're like a subscription box for clothes or whatever.
They have subscription boxes for drinks?
Okay, hold on. It is a subscription box for women who are in perimenopause or menopause.
What?
So yes, and the company is called Shebang. I'm pretty sure it's Shebang or maybe Shebangs. Yes, and they have subscription boxes. This was my first one. It had moisturizer. It had a couple little drinks like this. It had some of those little packets, like your little fizzies. I haven't tried
Yeah.
those yet. Well, maybe next week. And just a bunch of little like fun stuff. So
Cool. Okay, we got to give them a shout out in the show notes. That is
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, highly recommend.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm gonna love.
Yeah, and the research that they do, they just started, so they're pretty much brand new. But the research that they do, they test everything. So companies will send them their stuff, and they'll try it, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, this is
Very
great," or
cool.
"No, this is not great." And so yeah, it's very curated.
I love.
Yeah.
Love.
Yes. So let's talk about the We Do Not Care Club.
But before we do that, we have some exciting news to share, y'all.
Yes, we do.
Okay, we're very excited and proud of ourselves. And I have to say, I mentioned this to one of my friends who's a former guest on the podcast. And I said, "You're not going to believe what happened." And I told her. And she's like, "Oh my God, that's incredible." And she goes, "How do you guys feel?" And I said, "Honestly, and when I tell you this, it's going to make sense. The whole time we've been doing this, I have really felt like this was the thing where we were going to get found out, like complete imposter syndrome. Like I really thought that by going through this process, this was going to be the thing that was like, yeah, no, you guys are small time. Like it's not going to happen." But it didn't. So I'm still kind of wrapping my head around it. Okay, so drum roll, please. Drinks with the Girls is now trademarked, y'all. Trademarked. So what does that mean? It means that no one else can use the name Drinks with the Girls for kind of anything really related to entertainment. I suppose if they came up with like a drink for Drinks with the Girls, I don't know that we could claim trademark over that. But that is freaking incredible. And when I think about the story of how we got this name and how we were both like, there's no way, like we were going to call it all this other stuff, you guys may know. And when we can never remember how or who came up with the name, but we do remember saying, there's no freaking way that hasn't been used. And it hadn't been. So here we are. And we're super duper excited about that because that means what we already knew, frankly, that we're an original.
We are an original. And it also means that we are going to be able to take this podcast to the next level. And even though we might be small time now, stick around because we're not going to be small time forever. And if anybody is thinking about using Drinks with the Girls, guess what? You can't.
Back off, biatches.
So yes. So yay us.
Yay us. Yay. All right. So now we're going to talk about the We Don't Care Club.
Yes, we are. So somewhere in between your first hot flash and your last fuck to give, you realize you are part of a special club. But the originator of the We Do Not Care Club is Melanie Sanders. And she, one random day, was sitting in her car, feeling a little disheveled. Her hair was a mess. She was in the grocery store parking lot, and her bra was twisted to one side. Her boob was kind of like awkward. And
I love the
she
visual.
looked at herself, right? She looked at herself and she's like, "Melanie, you just don't care anymore." And she just pushed record and just recorded a video about all the things that she literally doesn't care about anymore. And it is focused on women in perimenopause, menopause, and this is what I love too, post-menopause. Because you don't hear a lot of people mentioning us girlies who are in post-menopause. So this movement is for us.
I'm so excited. See, I don't know how I missed the trend. Karen's more of a like in the know on social media really than I am. But I came across this in a New York Times article, which we'll put in the show notes, just talking about this. And like, there's all these people that are involved now, like Ashley Judd got on board and posted something to her social. So it's definitely a trend. And I think that it also kind of ties into what we've been saying just in terms of this idea that, women 40s and above have been kind of marginalized by like culture and society and media and all that, like whatever, like they can't contribute anything, like they're old and dried up. And guess what? We have the buying power now. And so finally, all these entities are paying attention. So it kind of harnesses that too. But I love the we do not care idea. Karen, what's one thing, just one? I know there's so many that you just could care less about now that you actually really cared about before.
I just don't care about what anybody thinks about me, about what I say, what I wear, what I do. Like, I don't care. How about you?
Well, it's so funny because that's definitely one with me. But I also think about how much freaking time and energy I spent in my life caring about what people thought of me and like changing myself or my life or my actions or my plans or whatever solely based on that. I look at my daughter, and that's a big thing with her right now. And I feel like we're starting to come out of it, but she's 15, and so it's just like from what color she dyes her hair to everything else, and she put a fun one on the other day. It's like, she comes up with these ideas. So she's got like orange micro bangs, like a dark purple hair and then orange underneath. And I was like, how did you come up with this? Like, it's because she's a natural strawberry blonde. I was like, you should just like use your natural color underneath. She goes, no, I don't like my hair. It's like, because my hairdresser's always like, you can't get that in a bottle. Like, are you kidding me? She's like, yeah, but I got bullied for my hair. So it kind of makes me sad because yes, she's doing it because she wants to do it, but it was born out of, people that made her feel insecure. So my little mama heart is sad about that. But yeah, so I am just celebrating the fact that there are so many things I don't care about anymore that just sucked my time and energy down.
And I think the beauty of this and what Melanie is trying to do is help women realize that it's okay. Like, it's okay to not care about that stuff anymore. It's like this permission slip, which we love our permission slips here on this podcast, but it's like our permission slip to literally not care about all these things that have been just too heavy to hold. And I just have to give a shout out to my girl, Annie, because she right before this whole thing blew up, it was in June, we had just had our annual girls trip. She sent all of us a clip from Melanie's Instagram and one of her videos. And I tell you, if you guys have not seen it, they are hysterical. She usually has, maybe her head wrapped up in something. She might be in her pajamas. Sometimes she has a neck pillow around her head. She always has at least 3 pairs of glasses somewhere, one on top of her head, one clipped in here. And then she says, welcome. I'm going to mess it up, but welcome to the latest, meeting of the We Do Not Care Club for perimenopausal, menopausal, and postmenopausal women, where, we basically just don't care that much anymore. And she has a notebook and she has a highlighter. And what she'll do is she'll rip the highlighter lid off with her mouth, spit it out, and then she'll go down her like imaginary list of things. And then as she says each one, she crosses them off, like, I don't care if I'm sitting in the grocery parking lot plucking all my chin hairs out in front, when people are walking by, just whatever. It's really, really funny. And she makes light of it, which I think is fun. And I feel like it's what women need. It's what we needed. It's like we needed somebody else to tell us it's okay to not care about. It's okay to not care about if people see your bra straps or your, muffin top maybe poking out over your jeans, or if they see your nipples, God forbid, through your shirt. It's like we just don't care anymore.
I remember, it's so funny, I just got a memory. So back when I was teaching high school, I was pretty large-breasted before I had my reduction. And so, nipples poked out. Like there was just literally nothing. I mean, it is what it was, right? And I remember being at an assembly or something, and one of the teachers in my department was like, hey. I'm like, what? She goes, come here. I'm like, what? She goes, your nipples are showing. And I just looked at her like, seriously? Like, you just wasted 5 minutes of my life to like tell me that? Now, not judging or trying not to, but she was pretty flat-chested And you do you, right? Like, I don't measure chest, but I was literally like, she was so shocked. Like, she was just like, you would have thought I'd, like, flash my boob at this assembly in front of a bunch of high schoolers, and I just could not wrap my head around, like, what did she think I was gonna do? Like, go into the bathroom and, like, push him down or, like, apply, like, warm compresses to him or something? I was literally just like, it took me a while, like, all day to be like, "Am I missing something here?" Because I just find it hard to give two flying fucks about this, and she's clearly really disturbed. Like, am I being like, I was literally just like, "Am I being inappropriate as a teacher?" And I'm just like, I don't know what to say. It's not like I decided in the morning, I woke up and said, "Yep, my nipples are gonna be perky and popped out of this."
Excuse me for being a human. Excuse
I
me for being a woman.
and it just sucked that it was a woman that was doing it, and she wasn't trying to, like, shame me or anything. In her
Sure.
mind, it was kinda
She was
like,
doing you a favor, she thought. She
yeah,
thought she was
like,
doing you a favor.
yeah, like,
Mhm.
you have a tag out or whatever, and I just, like, I started to think there was something wrong with me because I just couldn't be bothered to give two shits about it, but
Yeah, no, it's something's wrong with society because they tell girls and women, "Oh, there's something wrong if people can see your nipples. Like, you're not allowed to have nipples, so we have to have, 2-inch thick padding or whatever, so nobody knows that you have nipples."
hey there, I'm Lisa Corachella McDowell, your midlife Pacific Northwest princess, here to guide you in the art of next leveling your life. I'm passionate about women's health and wellness in midlife, especially for moms parenting kids with unique needs like I do. I truly believe we can learn, grow, advocate, and care for the planet while taking care of ourselves and our families. And I'd love to help you do the same. And I'm beyond excited to tell you about my membership for maxed out mamas just like me, the Empowered Parent Collective. It's a space for parents to confidently advocate for their kids, build inclusive communities, educate themselves, and find balance and support along the way. To find out more about the Empowered Parent Collective, my classes, wellness offerings, parenting tips, advocacy resources, and exclusive Drinks with the Girls goodies, head to nextlevellifewithlisa.com. Let's survive and thrive in the messy middle together. Speaking of the 2-inch padding, has anyone noticed that when you buy a swimsuit these days, there's like an inch of like padding and I'm always like, what the hell is like, I don't understand. And I'm always, because it just makes, I mean, like, I'm kind of not insecure, but as it stands, I haven't ever needed a ton of padding or
I was
wanted
just gonna
a
say,
ton of
you
padding,
don't understand because you don't have small boobies like me.
right? So it's always like, what is this shit? Like, get it off, right? And like, to the point where I'd like cut little things on the side and pull it out. So
Yes.
I feel like I buy a
Yes.
swimsuit now and it's like,
Swimsuit makers, can we just have them not put those pads in at all? Like, if you're gonna make them removable, just don't put them in. They're
that's
stupid.
the
When you
thing.
wash the bathing suit, they get all crumpled up.
Thank you. Okay, that's my other issue is it's like, why? A, they don't stay. B, I don't think they work. And C, frankly, if you're going to throw them out, it's just more plastic in the landfill anyways. So like, I don't understand. Yeah. So that's my rant about
Yeah,
bathing suits for
but
the
we
day.
digress. So, I think that one of the reasons that Melanie's We Do Not Care Club. And let me just say, it's a movement, let's make that clear. It is not just a club, like, she's been on, all these talk shows, like you said, there've been all these celebrities, Halle Berry, Ashley Judd, Valerie Bertinelli, like, they're on board, and a lot of the I don't wanna call them influencers, but a lot of the experts in the menopause space, like Mary Claire Haver, Tamsin Fidel, they also joined the club and posted it or pushed it out on social media and stuff. So, like, she gained, like, so many followers in a 24-hour period. I think she has, what did she say, 1 million on TikTok, 2 million on Instagram. And it's all because she's talking about what we as perimenopausal, menopausal women are dealing with. And she doesn't want us to feel like we are the only ones. We feel like we're going crazy. We feel like our synapses in the brain are not firing. And it's not, we're not alone. It's not just us.
Okay, I have a question. And this may be stupid, but how do you officially join the club? I feel like we've got to lay that out there.
I think you just say, I'm in the club. But
So there's
what
no,
she
like, hazing or, like,
no,
initiation or something?
there's
Is it
no
just,
hazing,
like,
but what
a lifetime of, like, putting up with this shit, and then you just automatically get a pass to the club?
What I do love about it, though, is that she asks people when at the end of when she's done reading the announcements, she'll say, "This is the end of
The
this meeting."
announcements.
Yes, and she'll say, "If you have anything you wanna put on the agenda or in the minute or on the agenda for the next club, leave them in the comments." And so
Oh
she
my
will
god.
take comments that women leave, what they don't care about, and then she will read them, like, in one of her
That
next
is
announcements. Yeah,
hysterical. I need
yeah.
to start following her because I thought it
You
was like a
do.
one-time thing, like, I didn't know it was this whole big thing.
Oh, no.
Clearly, I have not been paying attention.
It has resonated with women. Like, women are like, "Hell yes." I mean, first of all, because it's funny. Like, when I first saw her with all 3 glasses, one on her face, one on her head, one tucked in her I'm like, "Yes, this is my girl. Yes." But, also, she did one I saw recently, actually, where, she started in the usual way. She didn't have as many, like, little props and things on, but it actually became an emotional post for her, and she started tearing up, and she was talking about all the heavy things that we are holding. You are feeling like you're holding the world on your shoulders and that you don't have anybody to talk to. It's okay, you feel like your dreams have shrunk, or and just all these, like, real truths that we deal with, and so I think, yes, she's helping us, like, make light of it and just see how ridiculous fucking menopause is, but also how real that some of these things that we're dealing with emotionally are. And, she's giving a voice to that, and she's helping women feel seen, and we are here for it.
So, okay, do you think that she is doing the whole "we don't care" thing and naming that stuff in an effort to kind of make room for the other stuff that she's acknowledging that we should care about or do care about? I guess in my mind, those are two different things, right? So
Yes.
we don't care, like I said, about like nipples or bra straps or the fact that I've been in sweats for 3 days straight. Like I could literally give a shit. I call it my work mullet.
Mhm.
Business on the top, party on the bottom. So my
Got
kids
it.
and my husband will be like, "Oh, you're wearing your work mullet today." I'm like, "Yes, I am."
That's great.
So, yeah, so all these things we don't care, but then it sounds like she's also making space for, we don't care about this stuff. We need to spend our energy dealing with this stuff. Like this is the real stuff that we should care about that we're trying to deal with and all that. Like is that kind of the sense that I'm getting from this?
Yeah, absolutely. It's yes, we don't care about all these silly, crazy things to make room for caring about ourselves,
Okay.
to get out of the people pleasing, get out of the emotional exhaustion, get out of, the holding everything for everybody and start really focusing on ourselves. And I think that's where those more powerful, deeper videos come in.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can think of a lot of, and I can actually think of a lot of stuff that I could play that we don't care anymore that is, like, heavy and deep and awful that I've been carrying, but I've gotten to the point where I can now say, "I don't care." Or I'd like to not care as much kind of a thing,
Mm.
and that to me is, like, half the battle.
Yeah, recognizing that that's the goal is to not care about it.
Yep, yep,
Because I think we just go through autopilot for so many years, caring
totally.
about all this crap and not realizing we have a choice. And then you get to, this stage and the estrogen takes a dip and, that's your people pleasing hormone. And we're like, what? What have I been doing?
I
Yeah, your
remember when
bullshit tolerance meter goes way down.
I remember when Karen Baskett was on the podcast talking about her Ayurveda practice, and she was like, "The estrogen has left the building. Like, your ability to give two shits about anything that people think that you should give two shits about is officially gone." And just this idea that that's rough for the people around you that you have been running around, like, trying to fix for years. Like, people do not like that. And I think that's also part of this whole movement too, is it's like, and she talks about that, like, people are like, well, wait, you hang on, you always did this. Like, wait, what? You're not going to do this anymore? And I feel that so hard because I've really had to do that and establish boundaries. And I'll tell you what, the worst people to establish boundaries with are your own freaking family members.
Yeah,
They're
the
the
hardest ones
worst
to
offenders.
establish boundaries with are the ones that need it the most.
Yep.
Well, and I think the crappy thing about what you're talking about, Lisa, is, once we do get to this point and we don't want to care about so much anymore, and then the people around us freak out, and then our social conditioning kicks in that tells us you're not a good girl,
Yep.
you're not a good wife, you're not a good daughter, you're not a good mom unless you have
Do X, Y,
468
and
balls
Z.
in the air. Right. And so then that makes it even harder for us to not care because
Yep.
we're like, oh my gosh, I'm a terrible person if I don't
Yeah.
care about these things.
Yeah.
So I think that's Melanie's, kind of her goal too, is to help women realize, it's okay. Here's your permission slip to not care about that stuff anymore.
Yeah. Because it's definitely a vicious circle, right? And that's why it's so hard. It's like, okay, you go through all the things where you are caring too much about everything and being the PTA mom and baking the zucchini muffins and, like you talk about all the things you did as a stay-at-home mom where you were just constantly like trying to outdo yourself. It's like, oh, I'm going to hand mill the grain for the muffins and like whatever, right? Like when you were like that wonton soup that you made and you were like, yeah, I like mixed the dough and I was just like, girl, nobody's got time for that. And you're like, oh, I was a stay-at-home mom. I'm like, I don't care. That's bananas, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
so you got to like recognize it first. And then you go, okay, this is something I don't want to care about, or I'm putting the boundary up. And then you get the reaction. And it's almost like this whole thing starts all over again to be like, then you got to kind of talk yourself down because you've been shamed for putting that boundary up. And I love our men, but honestly, I just can't think of a situation where men get that. And maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see it happening. Often, at least.
Did I ever tell you I went on strike after that wonton soup meal?
Nice. Tell me.
Yeah, my kids were like, what, maybe, I don't know, 8 and 10 or something. And maybe that's too young to be making homemade wonton soup for them. I don't know. But they had a pretty good palate. It's not like we were just eating chicken McNuggets and grilled cheese. But yeah, so I made homemade wonton soup. And it was after I had made some other meals that were, because I did make homemade. Those of you who have listened to me bitch and gripe on our cooking episodes, you might be shocked to hear this, but I did used to cook when my kids were young. Because I was a stay-at-home mom, and I'm like, you know what? This is kind of like a love language, and I'm going to feed my people, right? Well, yeah, I had one tell me, my daughter said, it looks like brains, which, I mean, wontons kind of do. But then my son was like, it tastes like laundry detergent. And this was the straw that broke the camel's back. It was just
laundry detergent.
I know. Whatever. And so I literally went on strike. And I said, I'm sorry to my ex-husband. I said, but I am not cooking. We can buy crap at Costco. We can heat up stuff. We can go out. But I am not cooking. And I don't think, I think it was like 3 weeks. And I didn't. And so, but then, you're like, okay, my kids need to eat some real food now. My name is Karen Shatafian, and I am a shameless coffee addict and empowerment coach for women, and my love language is authenticity. My mission is helping women unapologetically design a life they're in love with. Because what the hell are we waiting for? My website, KarenShatafian.com, has all my coaching packages and free offers like my midlife reclamation guide. In it, you'll find tools to help you decide how to create the most inspired and empowered version of yourself and your life. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram talking about ways women can show up for themselves after decades of showing up for everyone else. Join me as we throw off the shackles and live our best freaking lives. See the show notes for all the details. Cheers.
I was having a conversation with my husband about this the other day because I decided, I don't know, maybe 18 months ago, that nobody does the meal planning but me. And part of that is my husband's disability. But, and the kids do their own thing so much. I've just given up trying to anticipate what it is. So there's certain things that I won't make because of them and that we won't plan, but I try not to cave into that too much. But I decided a while ago that in the warm months we'd grill on Sundays because it's always a shit show trying to get ready for the week. And in the winter months, we do soup or a crock pot or something on Sunday because I do not want to be dealing with all that, right? And I've given up a lot of the kitchen stuff to him just because my schedule is freaking ridiculous and he doesn't work right now. But I said something about, because my son is always like, he wants to know what's for dinner. That's his thing. Like structure and routine and predictability. And so he wants to start his day off knowing exactly what we're going to have for dinner. Is it something he's had before? Did he like it? Like, because the other problem is if it's not something he perceives he's going to like, then the day goes to shit. So we have instituted a policy of you have to try it, right? But if you don't like it, then you can pick X, Y, and Z because it was literally the whole day would just go down the toilet like instantly. So anyways, I was answering him and I said, we're having lasagna soup. And my husband goes, ew, under his breath. And I swear to God, if I'd had a sharp implement near me, he would have been throat punched with a freaking meat cleaver. And I looked at him, I was like, are you kidding me with this? He's like, well, it just doesn't sound appealing. I was like, then you meal plan. You figure it out. Oh, wait, nobody wants to meal plan because everybody hates doing it, including me. And so we got to the meal and I made it. And it was fucking fantastic. Thank you very much. And he goes, this is so good. He's like, I really liked it. And I looked at him. I'm like, I'm waiting. I swear to God. And he's like,
give me that bowl. You don't get to eat anymore.
He's eating. And I'm like, he's like, what do you mean? I said, I'm waiting. And I said it a second time. He's like, what? I'm like, I'm waiting. He's like, you're waiting for what? I was like, think about it. And he still didn't get it. I was like, all right, I'm pissed. Now I said, the apology for saying that it sounded gross. He's like, fine. He's like, I really shouldn't say that. It's really good. I'm like, thank you. That's not happening.
Yeah. Unless you're in the kitchen cooking, you are not allowed to.
Shut up. Just shut up.
Yeah. Poor Tony. Some nights I won't even cook. Some nights I'll just be like, meh, just figure it out.
Yep.
Pretzels, hummus, and
enjoy.
Coors Light.
You hit all the topics.
Right. Throw a little bit.
So basically what you're telling me is it's your trauma response to the wonton soup. Like everything has been built on the wonton soup. Not that I am disagreeing. Like to me, that is like, as soon as you said that, I'm like, oh, that's completely a legitimate reason to be like, screw you people. I don't care if you're 8 years old. I'm not cooking for you.
Right? I did that.
Girl, you will get no argument from me. I can picture myself at the moment saying the same damn thing. And like my lasagna soup thing, that was literally like yesterday. So yeah, no, this was not like a story I'm telling. This was literally yesterday.
That is so funny. Yeah, I feel really lucky that I'm not feeding children anymore because, Tony's very good. He's not like one of those men who's like, I need a hot meal every night and you need to make it and I'm just going to sit here and eat it. No.
I don't think he'd be in your house if that was the case.
Correct. No.
Or he'd be dead. One of the two.
Yeah. But yeah, cooking is just one of those things I just do not care about anymore. And we've talked about this on our cooking episodes, but it's like, I've always hosted Thanksgiving and I've loved it. And it was great. And we had so many people and everybody would bring people. And now I'm just like, ugh, that sounds exhausting. And it makes me kind of sad. I have to grieve that a little bit. And I'm not saying I will never host another Thanksgiving, but it's like, I just don't care anymore. I'm like, let's figure something else out.
Well, and the other thing is, think back to your party planning days. Like, I don't know if y'all know this, but Karen, was the party planner, extraordinaire. And she was known for her Halloween parties. Like we've discussed on our first decluttering episode, the fact that she has boxes of Halloween costumes that she cannot let go of, right? So she was the party queen. And so I think a lot of this might be a reaction to that piece, right? Is you're just like, I would go big or go home. And now it's like, no, I think I'll just go small and sit right here. Thanks very much.
Yeah, I think I'll just go home and sit on my couch and yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know what it is, honestly, what it is. Because I would have a Halloween party tomorrow if somebody would drive out here, would drive a few hours to.
But you wouldn't cook.
Correct. Oh, hell no, I would not cook.
Yep. Nope. Yeah.
No, but but people would be fed. It's not like I'm going to let people go hungry, but no, I just choose not to spend my time cooking.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's also, I think, a really important point in all this is what are you going to spend your time on? Right? Because at this point, not to get all morbid, but we've got more time out than in. And no, in than out. Whatever. Anyways,
Yeah. I know what
that.
you mean.
And I feel like that's part of it is what am I going to spend my time doing? Like, what is worth my time? Because when you have young kids, there is no sense of like time. It's like into the breach. And then you come out the other end 24 hours later, 24 days later, 24 years later. Like, you never know how long you're heading in the bunker for. And so I feel, and for me, I feel like there's a lot of that where I had to give so much time in a certain area that, like, I don't care because, like, I am not gonna make that commitment again.
I just think the timing of this whole thing was just perfect because, we've started to hear more about menopause out there, online, on social media, in the media. I think, women who are in this stage of life, we needed to feel seen and we needed to know that. I mean, because I don't know about you, but there were definitely some times where I thought I was going crazy, that my brain was not working the way that it used to work, and it scared me. I thought something is really wrong. Come to find out, it was menopause. And so now, that's out there. We hear more about that and being able to have humor about it the way Melanie has done. I just think it helps us poke fun at it, but it also highlights something that's kind of serious, like that stuff underneath that we all feel deeply. I mean, it's easier to laugh at it, but it's also good to just really name it and talk about it, even the hard stuff.
And I think that it's to kind of expand upon the point I was making earlier. It's not about not giving a shit about anything. That's not what this is about. It's not about like nihilism and just like, well, I don't care about anything. Like I'm just going to sit in my hole and die. That's not it at all. It's prioritizing what you're going to care about, which typically in this sense is very different from what you used to care about, and prioritizing things that mean more to you in a way that's lasting.
So what are some other things that you don't care about? I know we kind of opened the show with one
Oh,
thing that we don't
gosh.
care about.
God, there's so many. I don't even know where to start.
I'm going to tell you one
Okay,
while you're thinking.
good. Yeah, give me some time here.
Because I've been thinking about this today.
Okay.
I don't care about and this is so not normal for me. I'm okay with, or I don't care about leaving dishes stacked up in the sink for 3 days. 3 days is my max, I have to say. But with the caveat, they're rinsed off. There's no food on them. They're not clean, but there's no food. Gross. That's not okay. But I do care about that. But I don't care if those dishes sit there for 3 days. Nobody's coming over. The queen's not visiting. I mean, I just don't care.
It's so funny that you say this because this is one of the big things right now in my marriage that I've had to like deal with, right? Because I don't have the time anymore. Like, we do the podcast. I work really long hours for my regular job. I travel. And then I do my business on the side. So when I say like my time is precious, like it's bananas. And that's just the stuff that like I blocked out. Never mind like the time I want to spend with my family, like the prayer, right? So
And raising children. There's that.
Whatever. So I've had to give in on certain things that I care about, but I just can't, right? So I feel like this is kind of a subset, right? And so I want my house to look nice. I want it to be clean. I want my kitchen to look great. And I have just had to freaking give up on that. And that is something that I am really struggling with because I have the queen of clean, my mom, like whispering right in my ear all the time that like I'm less of a person, because, and not that she would say you're less of a person, but that was a big battle that we had. And I remember one time she gave me this back asswards compliment. It was like, what did she say? She said, I just think it's so great that you don't care what your house looks like or, doing all these things. Like, I wish I could be more like that. It's like, okay, I think that's a
Thanks,
compliment.
Mom.
I'm not quite sure how to take that, but I'm going to go with glass half full, right? So I have had to just stop really giving two shits about that because I do not have the time. And I am my husband is disabled. There's a lot of stuff going on that he just can't manage. And so it dishes sit and things go bad that shouldn't go bad, just in terms of groceries and stuff like that. And I have had to just sit myself down and be like, you're going to drive yourself batshit crazy. So you have got to prioritize some stuff. So it's hard because it's not that I don't care. I do, but I can't. I just literally can't.
Yeah, it sounds like you don't have the emotional bandwidth to care. And she talks about that in like a letting go way. Like you said, like you have to let go of things. You can't do it all and keep it all and be it all. I mean, we try and we do it for decades, right? And we eke it out, but then we get to this stage of life and we're like, no more.
Yeah.
So I think, that letting go piece is hard. And I know that's hard because, when you of course you want your house clean. You want everything tidy. You want everything where it belongs. But sometimes you just don't. And I don't even have everything that you have. I don't have all the balls in the air that you have. I have maybe half of those. And I still am like, I don't feel like doing the dishes. Guess what? I'm going to rinse them off. I'm going to set them in there because the dishwasher's full of clean dishes. And I don't feel like emptying it. So I'm just going to let the dishes stack up in there for a day or two.
I hate doing that. Yeah, if I could wave a magic wand, the chores that I would take away would be dishes, meal planning, taxes, laundry, pretty much all of them.
I mean, taxes, yeah. Making beds, that's my least favorite. I mean, not making beds, changing sheets.
My husband has a meltdown whenever we do that. And I'm just like, can we please change the sheets? Like, it's been weeks. It's so gross, And he's like, fine. But he just that kind of triggers him because it has to do with spatial awareness and stuff, which is something that he struggles with. And there are days when I just have to put my foot down and be like, okay, I can't anymore. It's like a sensory issue for me at this point. We need to do this. So we're pretty good at kind of negotiating that. But yeah, I also think it's this thing of your whole life, you're splitting yourself in 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 5. It's like a cell division, right? And you split yourself into so many pieces. It's like Harry Potter's Horcruxes. You can't put it back together again, right? And so I think you get to that point where you're like, I've lost any power I have. It's diluted into 15,000 versions of myself that I have to run around doing, and I don't have the physical capacity to give a shit about this many things at this point. I just don't. And when you're a young mama and you're doing that, it's kind of heartbreaking, really, right? Because nobody really sits down and says, no. Everybody's going through this. We did an episode on, I think it was called Extreme Parenting. And it was this idea that parents are setting themselves up for complete failure because we are trying to do the Pinterest, do the holidays, be all the things. And it's literally impossible. But I feel like we do a really shitty job of setting young moms up for success. We just do as a society.
Oh, yeah.
And I
totally agree.
I don't know, how to fix that, right? Because I think that you feel very alone, right? I mean, we haven't really talked much about it on this show, but this idea of postpartum depression, right? Which is a real thing. But I think what also contributes to that is you're just like, oh my God, I can't do all the things that I'm supposed to be doing here. So you're just, I feel like you have kids and then you're just behind the 8 ball, for the rest of your life. And fighting that is really, really difficult. I think there's this perception of hey, bring casseroles for the new mom and come over and do things. And then a few weeks later, everybody leaves the building and you're still trying to figure all this out.
Okay, quick pause. Have we talked about the Pod Squad lately?
Oh, the Pod Squad. You mean our email list /VIP lounge /digital wine club?
Exactly. So listeners, if you're not on it yet, you're basically making life harder for yourself when it comes to podcasts.
Like trying to scroll for show notes while speed walking on a treadmill. Wait, what was that link again? Oh, no. Grab the side rails.
Or pulling up that book we mentioned while you're in the Starbucks line and then realizing everybody else moved up 3 cars and now you're that woman.
We've all been there. That's why we made the Pod Squad. You'll get new episode alerts every week with direct links. Easy to listen, easy to share.
And show notes straight to your inbox. So when we drop a life-changing product, book, hot tip or yummy new drink, you're not rummaging through your memory like a woman searching for her reading glasses when they're on top of her head.
It's organized. It's helpful. It's for you, babes.
So join the Pod Squad. The link is in the show notes. Just tap it.
Snacks, sarcasm, solidarity.
And obviously, fighting the patriarchy.
We write at dawn.
I'm trying to just, put myself in Melanie's shoes. And it's just like, well, what was it like coming up with this? And how did this all like just start spilling out? And I just feel like, and just hearing you talk about that and then reflecting on the video, the special one that she did, the one where she was more heartfelt and tearful, it's just like, I think as women, we just get to this point and it's like, I'm waving the white flag here. I'm waving the white flag and I just can't do it anymore. And like we talked about, like that's not an easy decision for us as women to get to because we're not socialized that way to do that.
Yeah. And we think it's our fault, right? It breaks my heart that we blame it on ourselves first as women. Our go-to is not society's wrong or the patriarchy's wrong or this horrible boss is wrong or whatever it is, or even like my kids are wrong, right? The go-to is we suck.
I'm wrong. I did something wrong.
That is the default from the moment we start on this journey. And it's really awful that it takes just decades of undoing all that conditioning till we get to the point where we're like, actually, this marriage is making me miserable and that is not my fault. I have tried, I've done, or this job is making me miserable, whatever. So we have to make a conscious effort to unwind all this stuff, whether it's good girl conditioning, whether it's, like you talk a lot about your marriage when it was falling apart with this idea of, why do I feel so unhappy? Like I don't deserve to feel unhappy. Like I have all this stuff. Like what the hell is wrong with me, right? Why can't I appreciate all these things that I have? But again, it starts with you shitting on yourself rather than the other situation. So I don't know how we fix that.
Well, I think we fix it by, because I think about, I have 4 young women in my life. I have four daughters. A biological daughter, 2 stepdaughters, and a daughter-in-law. And, I talk to them a lot. I have one who's ready to have, she's ready any day now. She's going to have her second son. And so our second grandson. And I talk to her a lot about guilt and mom guilt. Like when I notice her doing things or when I can see the patriarchy coming out in her words or her behaviors, I just gently point it out. And because I didn't know, like I did not know when I was in my young 20s, early 30s, even all my 30s, that the patriarchy is literally running the show in my life. Like some of the things I think are because of the patriarchy. And God, I promised myself I wasn't going to go down the patriarchy rabbit hole today.
It's like inevitable. It's by the way, we've got an episode planned because we feel like we need to not like rant, but just explain a little bit, maybe is the word I'm going to go to. Because I think we always get worried that we're coming off as like these kvetching women and see the patriarchy right there. But there's a whole backstory to this, which we won't get into right now. But at any rate, yeah. I mean, I think the bottom line is, you think it's you. You don't know it's something else. And in a vacuum, and in the absence of anything in that vacuum, that belief system is kind of there, right? And I mean, I really don't necessarily blame my mom. I mean, I will say it was super frustrating and I would tell her that. And it really, really upset me that she could not understand that in a lot of ways. And that was some of our worst like moments, right? And I've talked a little bit about that on the podcast where she just couldn't let shit go. And I literally like would have to hang up the phone and be like, I can't talk to you about this anymore. Like, this is not okay. And you need to respect that boundary. And those were rough conversations for both of us, but it was like, she just couldn't let it go. And I'm like, look, I'm not going to like punish my kid for playing with the trash cans and not putting them back. And she was just adamant about it. And I'm oversimplifying a complicated situation, but suffice it to say that those were things that we really struggled with. So I don't blame her necessarily because that conditioning she had was real. I mean, she grew up in a divorced home where people were literally throwing dishes at each other. Like, it was hardcore. And so that chaos around her shaped her to be someone that was, like, really focused on, like, taming the chaos at all costs. And, I mean, I can't fault her for that,
What I kept thinking of while you were talking is imagine like our mom's generation. Like
Mhm,
they don't have what we have now.
mhm.
We have the ability to have an we don't care club,
Yeah.
and I just think, and certainly generations before them, like think
Mhm.
about, even before the 60s or the women's movement and all that, like women were kind of locked in.
Yep. There was no model.
No. And so, yeah, being able to just say, I don't care about this anymore
Yeah.
is pretty powerful.
Well, and I think to your point, it's like all great movements, right? It started with several people who were rebellious and saying, "I don't care," right? I was reading about, I can't even remember her name was, but it was this socialite. I think she was an heir to the Vanderbilt fortune, maybe? I don't know, I can't remember. And she left a marriage and got married a couple different times and, like, decided she didn't wanna go into the family business and wanted to do other things, so she moved to Paris and became an artist and, like, all this stuff and this flack that she got. But it's like, for things to change, we have to have brave people at first that are just like, "Nope, not gonna do it," right? And so, that was never an option for our moms, right? Like, I don't think they were gonna be on the cutting edge of the wave with everything that they had to lose.
So, we've been joking a lot tonight and laughing at funny things, and it is funny. And Melanie's movement is funny to a degree, but it's not a joke. It is serious. And I think that's why she grew so many people in such a short amount of time because everybody was like, once they heard about it, they're like, oh yes, I want to be a part of this club. I definitely do.
Well, and I think that, again, we're not gonna go down this dark rabbit hole, but that's literally the entirety of the Me Too movement. Like, the Me Too movement was literally about women feeling on their own, dealing with this horrible crap, feeling like it was their fault and all this, and people going, "Well, no, me too." Like, literally, I have experienced the same thing, me too. And so the idea was, like, turning, like, the darkness of being on your own, like, on its head and being like, "No, actually, we're gonna shine a light on this because all of us have experienced that," right? And so I think it's that, like a lot of powerful things, that kind of dance between the darkness and the light, and humor is there to uplift us and also kinda really help us through some really shitty, deep stuff, right? And I don't think anyone would argue that underlying this are a lot of those things that, made Melanie, make that particular reel that was so intense, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And I think this idea of, like, she's not saying, like, be a nihilist, like, "We don't care. Give up. Like, nothing's worth it." Like, it's not, that's not what she's saying. I think, on the contrary, it's a very active stance of, "I don't care about what I used to care about, all these things that really don't mean a lot. I care about these things. Like, this is what's important, and I am letting go of all that because it's no longer serving me," right? And that may be some of the typical things that women at this point are like, "Nope, don't care." But it also may be things particular to your situation as well. I mean, I think we all have things that we're like, "Yeah, no, not my thing anymore."
Yeah, and it's just the whole idea of permission. It's like
Mhm.
she went first. So now she's, opening the door for other women to recognize where are the areas in my life that I really need to stop doing some of these things so I can care about myself.
Yeah,
And that's hard for women because we're taught that's a no-no. We are
yeah,
not supposed to put ourselves in front of anybody else,
yeah,
especially for a mother.
yeah. And I also think that there's a, like, I'm not even gonna get to the politics on this, but this idea of, like, women who tear down other women, like, I don't, for the life of me, I truly do not understand how that's a political issue. Like, I just don't. Like, I am not here for that at all. Even if I disagree with another woman, like, I am not there for the tearing down at all. I'm just not. That being said, I think that the tendency to do this, and we're going to talk about this in an upcoming episode for a book that we're both reading, this idea of women only rise when they tear other women down is a bunch of horse shit, right? And I can remember all sorts of stuff from I remember with work, it's such a long story, but we have this solution that we work with school districts on around training and things like that. And I remember one of the authors of this particular solution that we rub was going to be in town for something, and I was trying to hook her up with some clients, something like that. And I dared to have a typo in my email because, of course, I was doing way too many things at once and going too fast, and spell check doesn't fix everything, the end. And she literally didn't respond to the email. The first thing she said was you are a representative of this, and I don't feel that what you are doing is in keeping with the brand or whatever. And I was literally what in the world is she talking about? And then I realized it was because I had this typo, and it was something I forgot an S on the end or something really insignificant. And I remember getting a little embarrassed and kind of pissy about it. And then I was like, are you kidding me? That really passed quickly because it was really? This woman has the kind of time on her hands to judge me, someone who she's never met, for something we've all done before when we're going a mile a minute. And should I proofread better? Yeah, I should. But my God, is that worth castigating someone? And, luckily my boss was like, are you kidding me? Right. And it actually kind of went up the food chain, which I didn't necessarily need for it to happen to me. The growth was me going, she's out of her fucking mind. This woman is crazy. Right. And really freeing myself from the, I do not care what she thinks. Whereas before I would have been so embarrassed and so oh my God, I can't believe I did that. I'm I made a mistake. Next.
So we want to know, listeners, what are your I do not care lists? We want to hear what you just don't care about anymore. Yeah, this will be the last time I'm drinking this thing.
I didn't even think about that. So much for the positive review.
I mean, no, if I wasn't trying to record a podcast, I'd be fine because I'm chilling.
Oh my God, that time that Karen got high recording the podcast.
Right? Yeah. And I have cotton mouth, for God's sake.
Oh my God.
Ridiculous.
Mark's going to be why were you guys taking so long to record? And I'm going to have to be Karen was high.
I'm not high. I feel like I've had 2 glasses of wine.
Oh, well,
Well, and there is a 4 milligram. Maybe I'll try that next time. Instead of the 10.
What milligram was it?
10.
Oh, 10? Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. And
Yeah,
I'm so bad, edibles to me,
oh
my God. There's no,
Mm-mm. That's rough.
The first time I ever did anything with pot was an edible. I thought I was going to die. I thought
my God,
I was going to literally die. And I remember, because I did it quite late in life, looking at my husband going, why do people like this? Why is this a good thing? This is awful. I'm having nightmares and I'm awake. He was like, probably shouldn't have started you out that way. Anyways, yes. So share your stories. We would love to hear what you don't care. Let's do our own mini We Don't Care Club version. And by the way, Melanie, call us. We'd love to have you on the show. Just saying.
That would be fun.
Yep.
But yeah, listeners, let us know. And if you don't want to do the quick and easy thing, which is just replying to the email you're going to get if you're a part of the
Pod Squad.
And it has all the great notes about all the things that we've talked about today. Anywho, the easiest way to let us know about what you don't care about is to reply to that email. But if you don't want to do that, send us a DM on Instagram. We're active over there. Send it. Let us know what you don't care about, and we can talk about it.
Yeah. We care about what you don't care about is basically what we're saying.
Exactly. Yes. So share this with a girlfriend who you know needs to care less about some things. Share this with her.
And we're going to say...
We're going to say adios. Oh my God.
We're going to say cheers in my trashy little Vegas cup.
Cheers.
Hers is much classier.